Knockout Bets podcast by Recliner Sports Report. How we doing, everybody? I'm Mac, and with me, as always, is Andrew.
What's up, everybody?
I hope everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful week. We have a week off from the fights. We have no fights this weekend, so we thought we'd still keep the train rolling. And we
No
want
UFC card, that is.
no UFC, no UFC.
There
But
could be other fights, like at the Oscars or who knows where.
Yeah, right. Well, stay tuned because that's a whole other matchup that we're gonna get into later. So we figured we'd give you a little, just quick updates on some sports highlights. You know, talk some smack and drop a couple bets that maybe we're looking for the March Madness. We got Masters. We got Nate Diaz saying that he wants out. Got lots to talk about still. So even though there's no fights going on until UFC 273 Volkov versus the Korean Zombie, we'll keep you entertained until then. So yeah, so let's get right into it. Andrew, my first one for you though, buddy, like you kind of mentioned, we got it. I mean, you can't not talk about this. Like, I am still.
I kind of want to not talk about it, but we can't not.
I am in disbelief that this is even something.
So there's like three questions, right? So there's like, was the joke too far? Did Will Smith go too far? And or was the whole thing staged? So where do you land on that?
I thought it was 100% a part of the acting. I'll tell you why. It was because when I was in acting school, they would teach you that when you throw a hit, you always pound your chest with it to make like the smack, right? The smacking sound. And if you listen to it, and again, there's different audios now. When I first listened to it, though, it sounded like he had hit his chest because it sounded like there was a microphone, like it was a thud. It wasn't like a slap. And I was like, oh, that's fake. But then when the clips started coming out about Will Smith afterwards saying, keep my wife's name out your mouth, then I was like, wait, is this real? And then Will Smith won an Oscar. So I was like, okay, this is totally fake because there's no way they would. And who cares? I mean, it's acting. So I guess like it was acting, it was already made. The decision was already made before then. But yeah, now I'm really starting to lean
it's one of those
real.
things, or it could be, it could be like Kanye West running on stage and grabbing the mic from Taylor Swift, except the bad example for kids version.
Yeah, I'm all I can say is I am in shock. I don't know what to think. I'm a big Will Smith fan. I'm also a big Chris Rock fan. So
I mean, I have to say, not to be like a downer on the whole thing, but I'm a little disappointed that it happened one way or the other.
Yeah,
because
right?
like you said, he won the Oscar for Best Actor. Like that probably would have been the story the next day, and instead the whole story is just the slap.
Yeah, I agree with you. This all I know is it was wild. I'm going with real. I think it's real. I think this really happened.
I agree. I do think it was real. I don't think it was staged. I think it was one of those things. What I didn't like that he did a little bit was he sort of kind of underhandedly tried to, like, in a roundabout way say, oh, I was stuck in character and Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family, and sort of kind of shuck the blame a little bit that way. And he didn't like lay it at Richard Williams' feet, but kind of suggested that, and that didn't seem fair to me in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. We've obviously grown up from the time when Venus and Serena were little breaking onto the scene, and they've had historic and world-changing careers. So in that way, I thought it overshadowed.
Speaking of grown-ups, is the grown-ups gang? Are they going to come to Chris Rock's aid here? What do you think?
You see, like David Spade Adam Sandler jumping Will Smith next time they see him.
Well, either way, I'm super bummed it happened, but it did make for some entertaining. All I know is it's going all over the internet. That's for sure.
Oh man, I mean, so like I said, not a good example for kids because it's not something that's acceptable behavior. But some of the memes and some of the stuff that's been on Twitter and different places has been pretty hilarious.
it's great. It's great. Well, we'll see. I guess furthermore to see what happens to it. I'm sure it'll honestly all be over within a week, anyways. Um, but I'll tell you what, wild times. All right, next up we got March Madness, my friend. So I don't know if you noticed my mustache. That was in
Definitely
honor.
noticed.
That was in honor of Dougie
Poor
Buckets,
Doug.
Dougie Buckets over in St. Peter's and the Peacocks. But I tell you what, it was a fun ride for those Peacocks. I rode them the whole way, all the way right to the to the end,
Right to the
right to the end.
smackdown.
Wow, UNC, which takes us now to our Final Four, man. We got Villanova, Kansas, and the rematch, North Carolina versus Duke, Coach K's revenge. Um, what's what's your gut picks telling you here?
Yeah. So I mean, Duke, North Carolina. That's just one of those classics, like in-state rivalry. Um, Super fun matchup, right? Like you said, Coach K going to the end. I'm probably going to end up rocking with Duke on that one. They've got a young team, but they've played really impressively well in the tournament. I mean, every team that's made it to the Final Four has, obviously. But I've been impressed with the Duke basketball that I've watched in the last couple of weeks, and probably rocking with Duke in that game. The other one's a whole lot tougher for me. I don't have a pick on it yet. I'm gonna have to do a little more research before I pick Kansas and Villanova.
Yeah, I think I like the story of Coach K, but I mean I'm seeing -4 for Duke right now. I think this game's going to be a lot closer, and
Hard to be a whole lot closer than -4.
yeah, but I could see this as being like a coming down to who's going to have the last. I could see this
Mm-hmm.
as like a 1 point game back and forth the whole time. Um, I mean, or again, even the fact that North Carolina beat them last time, and North Carolina's looking really dominant too this whole tournament. Um, I
They're
I don't
good.
know.
I mean, they got some good matchups. Like I picked North Carolina over UCLA. I think that was a good matchup for them in that game. Um, I do like North Carolina a lot. I'm impressed that they've made it as far as they have as an 8 seed. But I just kind of think their time has come against Duke.
Yeah, I yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna take the points. I think that's where I'm gonna lean towards, but I don't know. I want to root for Duke. Um,
Right. So that's an interesting statement that you made right there, because I don't think that very many people, if any, would have made that statement before this year and being Coach K's last ride.
right.
Because like there's something important to that and really cool to see. And prior to this year, we all just would have gone, "Oh, Duke," and rolled our eyes. They're always there. They're kind of that almost an annoying team in a way that always does well and always is crushing the Cinderellas and that kind of thing. But there's definitely a cool story with Coach K's kind of last ride.
Yeah, and I also am a fan of Brady Manick from UNC, Mr. Birdman. I think he's been playing lights out. Um, he looks like a caveman. I love it. And then yeah, Villanova, Kansas, man. I think I'm going to take Nova as the upset. I think I like it, but Kansas is tough. Kansas went and did the same thing to Miami that UNC did to St. Peter's, so that also showed some pretty So here's the thing: when I look at something like that, some teams would say, okay, You get upset by those big teams, or it's like a really close game, and you're like questioning whether or not those two guys went out and were like, listen, we understand you are great teams, but we're still the blue bloods, and we're still gonna show you why you're the 15 seed or the whatever the seed Miami was,
Right.
8 or 12, and they went and blew them out.
Miami was a 10, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Something like that, split the difference, right? So, um, yeah, but I've liked Nova all year. I think they've played tough basketball all year. I think they've been consistent, which I think that's the biggest thing. We're talking. I mean, when you're talking about as a gambler here, and you're talking about college, any college sports, we're betting on kids right now. Like these aren't professional athletes, so like we don't know what's going on with them. Um, but I think they've shown up and been consistent game after game. So I think I'm leaning towards Nova on that one. Um, yeah, I like the consistency that they've shown kind of the whole tournament and their whole season.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I haven't watched enough of either team myself play, to be honest. So we'll have to dig into the stats and that kind of thing before I decide which side I'm gonna end up on there.
Same. I definitely have to do a little bit more research myself. That's what I think my gut's telling me Nova and UNC points, but we'll see. I've also thought the Peacocks were going to be there, so what do I know for March Madness?
Hey, I mean that would have been so fun. That
Dude,
I
that
mean, this story is so fun as it is, but see Dougie in the Final Four would be pretty cool.
would be nuts. Um, awesome, man. All right. So before we get into the UFC, um, a little bit, we got two things. Just a quick check in with NFL free agency. There's been some wild action going on in there. Then we got the Masters, and then we'll get into some UFC I don't say controversies, but hot topics that's going around the UFC right now. Um, so uh, NFL free agency. Really, the only updates I got is who day, baby. We the Bengals went and picked up some, as Frank Pollock would say, some glass eaters on that offensive line. Um, I'm telling you, and Hayden Hurst as a new tight end to replace CJ Uzama, who's going to the Jets. So good for you, buddy.
For those who don't know, because most of our Twitter is covered in Bengals tweets, Mac is obviously the Bengals fan. I'm a sad Jets fan that doesn't say a lot about the Jets these days.
Which you guys did beat
But
us,
that is
though.
my team, and
The Jets
stick
did
with
beat
them
the
through thick and
Bengals.
thin.
They did beat the Bengals this year, so you do have
That's
bragging
true.
but yeah, and you got CJ, so and so congrats on that. I don't know if
Uh, we'll see if we can win 4 or 5 games this year.
and then what do you think is going to happen with Baker, man?
I mean, I keep seeing like nobody's going to trade for him. He's going to get released and go to the Steelers, which I just think would be sort of awesome in a way
It would
to
be
go
absolutely
to
bonkers.
like an in division rival at absolutely no cost if he ends up getting cut and not getting traded. I kind of think it's ridiculous that they're having a tough time trading him. I mean, I understand it from both sides because you got to look at it as any team that's trying to make a trade with him knows that they have to get rid of him. He's also got I forget what the exact number is, but I think it's like 13 million guaranteed on his contract for next year or something like that. So that's a lot of money for a team to take on. But there are teams that need quarterbacks, and you'd think like the Seahawks need a quarterback and are not necessarily a terrible team where they're looking to rebuild. Like Seahawks definitely could use Baker. There are probably a couple other teams that aren't coming to mind off the top of my head other than the Steelers. But yeah, the whole thing it's just interesting because teams know that they've got to get rid of him, but he's definitely like he's not a top tier quarterback in the NFL, but he's a starting caliber football player. Um, and so, I mean, the biggest like thing that would blow my mind is if he ends up being a backup somewhere next year, because he's definitely more talented than that.
He can go back up Joe
Um,
Burrow.
yeah,
That would be
but
nuts.
no, I think it would be what I kind of want to see, just because I think it would be crazy. Is I kind of want to see him win with the Steelers just to see how
But
that goes.
they just picked up Trubisky, so like that to me that's like.
Uh, is
But again,
Trubisky a starter though? I
I don't know.
mean,
I don't I don't I don't disagree with you there. I just think that that's like nuts. Now, I definitely think, which now we go into Deshawn Watson. I definitely thought that he was going to land with the Steelers, um, but he's with the Browns now, which is now again kind of
two
stirred this
hundred
whole
and
thing.
thirty million dollars, all fully guaranteed. You don't
That's
see football contracts like that. We've never
no,
seen one.
that's big time. So,
It's. I think I read somewhere it's $80 million more than like the highest ever guaranteed contract before that.
yeah, it's nuts.
That's and there were even the I was just reading before we hopped on here, the Ravens owner was saying they're starting to renegotiate with Lamar Jackson, and that the contract the Browns gave Deshaun Watson makes it really difficult to have that conversation, because it's like you got to go, yeah, at this point you'd probably rather have Lamar Jackson than Deshaun Watson, especially Deshaun Watson that hasn't played in a year. So you got to pay him now more than 230 million guaranteed, because I mean, he's got to say it. Lamar Jackson's a better commodity at this very point in time.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see if Deshaun Watson ends up playing this year, or for what part of the year he ends up playing, and how he does. But yeah, that's an interesting angle to it too. Is some of the young hot quarterbacks, when they come up for their negotiation, now they're going to have to be supposedly beating that contract.
yeah. Well, yeah. For instance, like if Joe Burrow takes him to the Super Bowl again, now we're looking at like when he gets done with his, well, again, he's always got the franchise tag that you could tag on him, but still, it's a lot of money.
Sure, but you
Um,
want to have that long-term contract just so everybody feels better about it.
oh yeah. So, well, tell you what, been some crazy stuff. I saw again. It's mostly because our Twitter feed is filled with Bengals stuff, but it's like the Cincinnati Bengals draft pick last year of them doing completely the opposite thing of what they were supposed to do, and then still making it to the Super Bowl, and
Hmm.
still like with a big red flag of their offensive line, and like they were still like, we don't care, we're still gonna do it, and that's like, wow, they've turned the heads on the NFL now, and all of a sudden you see all these crazy. These just because you have to admit, I feel like there's been some wild things that have happened this free agency. I've never been this more involved or into the deals that have
So
been
I
made.
wanted to ask you about the one that happened. I forget if it was yesterday or today. So your old boy, the redhead, went to um, sign with the Saints, and it's going to be the backup for Jameis Winston. It looks like.
The Red Rocket, man. It's many years with that guy. I don't know. That guy, I was done with him. Yeah, I was done with him probably like 3 seasons before his last one. I think he just, I think he was hot out of TCU, and I mean, you can't take away what he did with AJ Green at the beginning of their run with this, but he just wasn't winning playoff games, and I feel like I feel like more and more teams were getting better and better at the quarterbacks, and then you started seeing guys like Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady never went away. You start seeing all these guys, and then you're like, well, he just ain't them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
not that he's not good. It's just you look around the league and look at all the other quarterbacks, and you're like, we're not going to win with this guy. And that's like, again, that's nothing against him. It's just the other guys were really, really good. So now we got
Yeah.
Joe.
No.
It's all good, but I like you said, yeah. Back up to Jameis Winston. That sounds about right. I will tell you what, though, the dude's smart. The dude knows what he's doing. Like I said, he was great at TCU. I wish he would have stayed with Joe. Um, I think he would have been a much viable, better backup than Brandon Allen. I get he doesn't think he's a backup, but like, look now where he's at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and if
Well, and
he would have stayed with
he's
the
in that
Bengals, like,
probably like, when you're starting to rank backups, you've already got 25 or 30 or whatever
yep,
guys ahead of that are starters. Um, but when you start to rank backups, I would put him in the upper tier of backups at this
Yeah.
point.
Oh, 100%. I don't think he's a. I would. I think, and he's proved he's not a starter for anyone. But he does well. You know what I'm saying? And they
He
keep
wins games. He's the
and
kind of
he.
guy, if your number one guy goes down, you still have a shot.
Yeah, you're
A
fine,
lot
and
of
that's
a
yeah.
lot of teams, if they lose their number one quarterback, they're in big trouble.
The Bengals, honestly, we're in a we're in a spot where if Joe
Right.
goes down, we're our season's done. We're all in on that kid, um, for sure. That's why I wouldn't have minded having Andy stay on for another year with him. Plus the
Yeah, I
learning
mean
that
that's a tough
Kit
situation though when
Palmer
you're
did
the
that with
starter there
yeah,
for
but
however many years.
Palmer did it with Kitna, and it was a little bit different because Palmer sat out that first year, but Kitna stayed on and was that ear for Palmer, and they had a great relationship, and it's what really I think helped Palmer kind of start off what he was doing. So again, I think it was just a bad situation because it was a guy who didn't want to not be the starter anymore. And
Right.
the Bengals went out and picked number one overall, the best, who was now one of the best, but in college was the best at the time, quarterback coming out. And that was a pretty big statement saying, like, and you get a new head coach. It was a messy situation to begin with. And I think for the best, both parties' interest, they ended on good mutual terms. But yeah, good for the Saints. Good for Andy
All
Dalton.
right.
I'm glad
So
he's still playing.
I have a last football question. This is ridiculous.
Okay.
But after the Bengals have improved their offensive line, the Bills have done a couple of things.
The
I
Bills,
think the
dude.
Chiefs.
The Bills. Wow. And Von Miller, what does he just jump to teams he thinks might win the Super Bowl next? Like he's
I
just a
mean,
Super
it's
Bowl
not a
jumper.
bad strategy.
I mean, the Bills just went from, oh, they have a struggling defense to, all right, they're the real deal, and now they also have, because offensively there was no question that they were good. It's always been their defense. I mean, again, their defense gives up lots of points, and they're not getting good pass rush, and their secondary is questionable. But now, my God, the Bills, this might be their year, buddy. Bills, and you know what? Good for you,
Okay.
Bills
Well, so
Mafia.
that was gonna be my question: is who's winning the AFC this year?
Well, again, I'm going to root for the Bengals because I'm a fan, but I think in all reality, I think the Bills are the scariest team in the AFC right now. I think they're,
Well, I'm surprised to hear you say that because I just thought you were gonna give me a hooday and call it a day.
dude, I was actually, here's the deal. When the Chiefs and the Bills played, when I was watching them, that game, the game before the Chiefs and Bengals, I remember watching that game, and I remember the Bills just never, they always went for it on fourth down. And I thought to myself, the Bengals would struggle against this because that they're good at getting teams into short and third and shorts. But consistently, when they were in those fourth and shorts or even just fourth and manageables, the Bengals were giving up the plays and not getting the defense off the field. That's hard to stop a team like that. I
Hmm.
literally, I think if the Bills would win that game, I don't think the Bengals go to the Super Bowl last year. And again, I think the Bengals would have found a way just to lose. Um, but I was more ready. I was glad that we were going to the Chiefs. When one, we'd already beat them, and we knew their style.
Right.
I did think it was going to be a similar probably outcome. Where again, looking at the Bills' defense at the time, knowing how the Chiefs, what we had done, I thought it was going to be a similar game of us being a run and gun. It was going to be a high scoring, but I didn't want to get into another shootout with Josh Allen because that dude was just lights out. And again, what think that they were more dangerous on is they have more plays because they're going for it on fourth downs for the most part, which to me is it's a ballsy move. But I tell you what, if it works out, which it does for them most of the time,
Well, and
they're
that's one of those
dangerous.
things that, like, as analytics have gotten more and more and more into football, a lot of the analytics say most of the time you should go for it on fourth down if it's at least manageable. I can't pull the stat out of my memory right this moment, but it's like anything 4th and 4 or shorter, like anywhere past your own 35-yard line or whatever, that statistically you should go for it because it's going to pay off for you more often than not,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of a football game. And we've seen, I mean, just in the past 5 years, more and more and more teams going for it on fourth down
Yep.
as coaches are getting those statistics and things. I think that's a trend that's going to continue to happen even more. I mean, it just makes sense. Like, you have the ball, you have one play to get however many yards, but you are controlling the ball and going for first down, going for, moving the ball down the field rather than punting and giving the ball to the other team.
Yeah, it definitely it's an advantage if it works well and you convert.
Right.
And you're
And even
converting at a high
right,
percentage.
even if you're converting, right, if you're converting 50%, you're probably doing really, really well.
Yep. And you're already you're getting more plays than you would usually have. And again, that now we start talking about, like, you're getting more chances in the red zone. And again, whether they're
Right.
getting 3 points out of
Exactly.
that or not, like,
And then the flip side is, if you don't get it, you give the other team a shorter field and you have to trust your defense.
yeah. But now they do have a good one. So yeah, I would definitely say the Bills. I'm worried about them for sure, man. Um, Yeah, but hey, can't wait to see what else. I know we got the draft coming up too, so that'll be even more craziness. But yeah, exciting times for the NFL. All right, next up we got the Masters, man, and Tiger is listed as a player on the website. I haven't heard any
Yeah.
announcement.
So what I actually saw before we hopped on here, I was just looking at some sports news. I saw that he played somebody said he played a full round at Augusta today. Like
Wow,
earlier today, played a full round coming back from the crazy accident. And somewhere else on Twitter or somewhere I saw, I think one of the sports books has him at plus 5,000. I think I retweeted that earlier today to our Twitter, which is at recliner_report. If you want to follow us there, we've got some fun stuff going on. We'll retweet stuff like Tiger Woods is playing the Masters and he's plus 5,000. We
dude,
also put a whole bunch of our bets on
I
there.
might take that.
I mean,
I'm a
why not
degenerate gambler.
like just throw a few dollars on it because, like, yeah, you're probably gonna lose, but like you want to be part of that win if it happens. You know what
I'm
I
gonna
mean?
watch him every single opportunity I can. Me and my buddy Garrett, we were talking about this for golf. It's like, who is the next Tiger, right? Like, what is the next exciting thing
There
back for
isn't.
golf?
It doesn't exist.
He actually came up with a good idea to how to make golf exciting was teams. Treat it like a league where you had, like,
Okay.
a Florida team. And again, everyone's still individually, but like you earn points to your team and then you get like a
Right.
professional golf like league. And I was like, you know what, that would be entertaining. I don't know. Again, I don't know
Right.
what
But there's
goes
just
into it,
certain
but
there's certain athletes, right, to me that like there just will never be another one, right? There's never going to be another Muhammad Ali. There's never going to be another Michael Jordan. I think Tiger Woods is in that category. There's never going to be another Tiger Woods. There might be, superstar golfers. I mean, back in the day, everybody was hyped about Sergio Garcia. More recently, people are hyped about Rory and different guys come along that people get excited about, but for somebody to have like the first of all the dominance and then second of all just like the global reach marketing wise, and even like we were talking about earlier, the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena, there will never be another
yep.
Venus and Serena. It's like one of a kind type thing. But I'm excited to see Tiger back. I mean, I'm just glad after reading about the accident that he had. I'm glad the guy's alive, number one. I'm glad he's able to walk. And, the fact that he can play golf is almost just like a bonus.
Yeah. I'm super happy. Like I said, if he really is playing, I'm gonna be watching every single shot. I hope ESPN has Tiger Cam going because that's all I really want to watch. Other guys I think may
So who, I was going to say, you're the golf guy here. So who's
I want to
your,
say much of a
re,
golf guy. I mean, I golf, but
okay, more than I
um,
am.
I would say the guys I'm rooting for is Schauffele, Morikawa, and Brooksy.
And do
Those
you have a pick of
no, so those
somebody
are
you
the
think
three.
is gonna
Those are
win?
the three that I think could win. But I think the guy that my pick is, I think I want to go with John Rahm. That's the guy who I really like. I also, uh, luckily, I got to take this program over at the YMCA. They have the Ryan Leach over there. He's a Titleist Performance Institute trainer, and so I work at the YMCA. I'm a camp director over there, and got lucky that I also get to get discounts on these awesome classes and have these opportunities. But yeah, he's from the Titleist Performance Institute. I remember first day he handed me a packet. We're doing our overspeed training to again the work on functional training and how to improve your flexibility into the golf swing, not change your golf swing, but make your fast twitch muscles. But pretty much it's I'm looking at the stretches and the handouts and all of a sudden the pictures. I'm like, that's John Rahm. And he's like, yeah, this is his workouts. So only because I'm going through John Rahm's workouts is the main reason I'm working, just because I know they're super tough. But yeah, I think you're gonna be looking at guys like Morikawa. He's close, man. He's getting closer and closer every year. Xander Schauffele, he's always in the top 10. Brooksy, I think last year he had a knee injury, so that kind of took him back a little, but he's been always rock solid every time he's healthy. Um, but then John Rahm, you can't keep him out of the conversation because he just again he's the number one player in the world. So yeah, he's super good. So what about you? Any favorites that you want to watch or you'd like to see win? VJ, get VJ in there
I
one more
mean,
time.
I know so little about the PGA Tour. I'll be honest. I'm excited to watch Tiger play, to root for Tiger, to root for him to even make the cut. Honestly, but if I'm being straight up honest, I don't follow the PGA Tour close enough to have favorite players or
Yeah,
to
I
have
mean,
a pick on
that was
who's
kind of
gonna win
my
it.
original point was like who not maybe who's the next Tiger, but who's going to bring the next Tiger like attention to golf. And I don't know who that person is and I don't know. I don't Victor
Right.
Hovland, I don't
Because
know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, people thought for a little while it was going to be Rory McIlroy, and that seems to have not really happened.
Yeah, he kind of messed
And
himself up trying to
I
change
can't even
like
think of
crazy.
like who is the next guy after that. I don't really know.
Corey Eisenbahn, that's who it is.
There
Corey
you go. I
Eisenbahn,
like
buddy.
it.
Hey, you're the next Tiger Woods, Corey. Hope all's well, buddy. Um, well, that's it for the Masters for me. Again, I'm just more excited. This is the one time a year that I get full into golf outside of when I'm playing it. I love watching it. I hope one day to go to Augusta, but I'm definitely excited for this year's Masters, especially if Tiger is going to be back. Um, all right, man. That takes us to the UFC and some potential matchups we want to see. I got my first one for you. It's not really a potential matchup, but just more news for the UFC. Nate Diaz tweeted. I not you know what I love that athletes they make all of their announcements on Twitter now. It's amazing. Like who cares about a press conference? I'm just gonna tweet it and boom, done. Tom Brady did it.
Right.
Nathan Diaz is now saying, Dana, release me. I got shit to do, or give me my last fight. And that's a crazy statement to make. But we are talking about Nate Diaz. So
Yeah,
who
I mean, I'm all about them giving him a fight. I
right?
love to watch him fight anybody, and he's one of these guys he's made himself so marketable that he can get a
Dude,
fight that he doesn't
he's a
deserve all
he's
the
a
time.
gangsta. He's a
He can
gangsta. I
get
love him.
a fight against Dustin Poirier probably right now, even
That
though rankings wise and win streak and stuff, he doesn't deserve that fight, but the hype for that fight would be real.
yeah.
And so he can probably get that fight if he wants it, and I'm sure Dustin would take it because
I think Dustin wants it
um,
too. I think you're right.
yeah, I mean from Dustin's point of view, he would see that as a huge marketing fight. Dustin would definitely see it as one he feels very confident in winning. I think for Dustin's side, it's kind of a no-brainer. And Nate Diaz, what you love about the guy is he just wants to fight the best, even if
Yeah,
he's on a winning streak, losing streak, doesn't matter. He wants to fight the best
anyone.
and the most interesting guys, um,
And he wants to get paid,
right, and get paid.
which he
So
deserves.
so that's the question, right? Is if he says he's got shit to do. So like, does he have, a deal to go box Jake Paul and make $25 million for a fight, or whatever is going to happen there? Um, why is like, what's next for him? Why is he so anxious to be either released or fight his contract out and be done with the contract? Like, what's he got up his sleeve planned to happen next?
I don't no idea, but I'm gonna love and probably buy anything that he puts out there. I just miss Nate Diaz in the ring. I am with you. I think we just need to get him a fight. I don't want to see him out of the league, out of the UFC like that. Get him his fight, and again, I think this. I think what I could see Dana. He's waiting maybe for Connor to come back to book that
Right.
fight. But
Yeah.
the fight is Dustin. Him and Dustin
At
is the
this
fight.
point, it should be.
It's the
Yeah.
fight to make. Don't don't think
And
that
even
wait for
from the UFC's perspective, if Nate Diaz is basically telling you, I'm done with you, that's the money fight that you can get for him for his last fight on his contract.
yeah.
So even from their perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah, and the people we want to see it. I know the other fans want to
Oh,
see it.
hell yeah.
And Dustin Poirier's already said he'd like to do it. And
Right.
I think it's the fight to make. I think it's for me. I think that's the next best move. Get him
Right.
out there, and then you never know. Maybe Nate does want to re-sign up. Who knows? We don't
Well,
know.
yeah. I mean, if you're going to throw whatever money you can at him to fight Conor McGregor a third time, I bet he'd sign up for that.
Yeah, I just think right now, I
Because
think
it's
get
like,
him.
what is he, if it's not like some sort of celebrity boxing, whatever, like, what's he really going to do next? He's not going to go to Bellator and have bigger fights than he would in the UFC. He's not going to go to any other promotion, and have better, more exciting, more marketable fights than the UFC. Like, the only thing I can think of, if he's really even trying to get out of the UFC, like, he might just really want to fight right now, and might re-up, like you said, after. Um, but yeah, it just makes you wonder, like, what's that next thing if it's not like celebrity boxing?
Yeah, I have no idea that you're. I don't know. I'm shocked. I don't even. Yeah, well, I don't know what else he has to do, especially since his last fight. In his interview, he was like, "I'm gonna do this until we we can't do this no more." And you're just like, "Oh," and then it's like, "I got shit to do."
Right.
What is it?
Oh,
I don't know.
well, fight Dustin, then fight Connor again, then, I don't know. Rematch Jorge Masvidal once they both racked up a bunch of losses, but
Yeah.
people will still watch that fight. I'd watch them run that back.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Nathan, whatever you do, I will be tuning in because you're the man, dude. Um, Best of luck to whatever you choose. All right. There's lots going on in these divisions, but I think for us, we've been talking about it for a while now. But the heavyweights, man, I think
Yeah, well,
Tui
because we've had a
turned.
couple of
Yeah,
recent main events, so we keep talking about, like, who's gonna fight who next. Because we've had
yeah,
Aspinall recently, and then Curtis Blades last weekend. Impressive knockout.
yeah. Tui turned the heavyweight division on its head when he knocked out Lewis because that's like a big jump from where Tui was to what he did and who he did it to and how he did it. Then you look at
Hmm.
Aspinall, did the same thing and just
He passed the test. He
not a
beat
knockout, but
Volkov
it was a submission.
impressively.
So now you took two guys who made massive leaps, and now the rumblings are starting, and you're like, what's supposed to happen? Because, and then you forget about the King is resting up from an injury, but then you
Right.
got Cyril Gahn, you got Stipe, you got John Jones, you got other. I mean, this is a stacked, and I'm happy because this is what heavyweight needs. It's been a while since
This
there's
is
been this
almost,
much excitement
so
in
you
the
know how
heavyweight
like
division.
Bellator does these like Grand Prix tournaments of like they pick their 8 best dudes and just do like a bracket style tournament to
Yeah.
pick the champion. Like the UFC's not gonna do that, but they almost could with the heavyweight division right now. Just take, I mean, you just listed off like 6 guys, and take 2 more. Put Volkov in there still, and Rosenstrike. Those are the 7th and 8th ranked guys in the division
We're
right
talking about,
now.
you didn't even say Blades.
Well, Blades, yeah, Blades is in there too, of course.
Right? We haven't even mentioned him. Like, that's
Yeah.
another one. Like,
Well, and his whole thing, I mean, the way he just went out like a G, and he's like, I'm not gonna wrestle Chris Dawkins because I think I can knock him out, and then he did. That was impressive. It
yeah,
was
it's,
it was a statement of I can knock. I mean, all the stuff he said after the fight, I can knock guys out too. I'm not just gonna lay on guys for 3 rounds or 5 rounds or whatever.
yeah, I saw that fight going a different way if they were standing up and he went to the opposite, which, mind you, that happened a lot to me. I only went 5 for, uh, no, 6 for 13. Was there 13 fights this week? I can't even remember. 13
I don't
fights?
remember.
Yeah, it was like it was either 5 for 12 or 6 for 13, one of the two. Not a great weekend for me. So what do I know about UFC fights? But if I were to,
Give yourself some credit. You know a
I,
fair amount, but
I like your
it was
thoughts
a rough.
with,
It was a rough week. I had a rough week too.
it was rotten. So on the heavyweight matchups though, if you were to say something like a tournament or a thing, this is who I think. Again, this is my
Yeah,
opinion.
I mean, not a tournament. Let's just go matchups.
I think I would like to see Tui versus Blades. I want to see
Interesting.
Aspinall gone. I want, and then I want Stipe and John Jones. Now, this is how the matchups would go after this. I would say winner of Tui and Blades faces winner of Aspinall and Gone. And I think winner of Stipe Jones fights Nagano for the title.
Oh,
And then,
so I am 1,000,000% with you on. I want to see Stipe and John Jones fight, and 1,000,000% the winner of that deserves the next title shot.
yep,
I also, what I really want to see is like Stipe against John Jones 4 years ago,
yep,
but we're a little too late. Like I almost think of it as like we did finally get eventually Mayweather versus Pacquiao, but we got it like 3 or 4 years too late for them to both
right.
be in their primes. I almost feel like that's kind of the same thing if we ever even get it that we're gonna get with Stipe and John Jones. Is we're gonna get that fight, but we're gonna get it like 4 years too late. But I still want to see it, and I will be incredibly excited if they ever book that fight. I'm a little bit different on the other matchups. I want to see Tui fight Aspinall, um, because I just think, like you said, that's the 2 guys that have like become contenders in the last few months that have worked themselves up there. And so let's see, which one of them is going to be the real contender, and which one's going to take a loss at this point. And that leaves Cyril Gane and Curtis Blades, which is not a matchup I'm dying to see. But if that's who's left, that's who's left. And I mean, I say it's not a matchup I'm dying to see, but that's for sure a main event on a fight night, or that's a main card fight on a pay-per-view. Like that's a good fight right there.
Oh, 100%.
Um,
Yeah, there's some beefy boys there, some thick boys. Uh, and yeah, laying some
and
massive
yeah, and I mean
hands
the
down.
thing is, if John Jones never gets his personal life together, and doesn't get his heavyweight body together and whatever, and never comes and fights, then I think the fight to make is Curtis Blades and Stipe.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Um, well, interesting none the least. Um, what uh, what other matchups you looking for in the UFC?
Well, so one of the ones that's been talked about a bunch in the past week or so is the little guys, the 125ers. So first went out news that they're booking Moreno Figueiredo 4, which is, I think, the only fight that makes sense. And then there's some controversy about, I guess, not Moreno himself, but like somebody from his training camp or something like that uh, said something or tweeted something. I'm not even
A
clear
cult,
on the whole
according to
story
Figueroa,
exactly.
and again, this is Twitter,
And
so
it
I
was
don't know if this is real.
mildly racist or
Called
something
him
like
a
that.
monkey, and then I guess
Okay,
put
that's more than
his
mild.
head on monkey pictures.
Yeah, that's not really cool.
That is, and it wasn't. It was from someone from Moreno's camp. I think it was
Right.
maybe the coach.
For being clear, it
So again,
was
it
not
wasn't
Brandon
Moreno.
Moreno. It was, yeah,
And again, I also
somebody
don't know
from
if
his
this is
camp.
true too. By the way, this is on Twitter right now. So, and again, I didn't fact check this. All I know is I saw the tweet.
Right. Right. And so now Figueiredo wants to fight Kai Kara France, which Kai Kara France is definitely deserving of a title shot. But in my mind, the only fight to make is Moreno Figueiredo 4 at this point.
Oh
You
yeah,
got to make that one. Whoever wins that, Kai Kara France just has to sit back in the cut for a few months and fight whoever wins that.
yeah. I would like to see Figueredo Kai. I think that'd be a fun matchup, but I agree with you. I think Moreno gets the shot first. It's only right, and they've done it.
I mean, it's
Doing
1-1
it
and one, and every fight
yeah,
has been amazing.
yeah. It needs to. Again, you can't end it like that. That's not how series end. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
can't have a draw, a win, and then say, "Oh, we're done with
It's
that."
tied. Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's
that's
tied. You got to settle it with
in
the fourth one.
every. And that's the crazy part is you went draw and then win. That just shows how close these two are. Like, not only did they tie, but they are now tied when they were winners. Like, this
Right.
is
1-1. One in the middle. Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things. I mean, we were talking about this last week, not on camera anywhere, just talking to each other about like I would love to see, and I know the judges gave Volkanovski both wins, but the same way I would watch Moreno and Figueiredo fight 10 times in a row before even fighting anybody else. That I would do the same thing with Volkanovski and Holloway. I would watch those two dudes just fight 10 times in a row and screw the rest of the division. And I get it doesn't work that way, but they just put on such good fights um, that that that's as a fan what I want to see. I know we've got Volkanovski coming up against the Korean Zombie. That one's soon. That's on next week's card, I think. But yeah, I mean, I would watch Volkanovski and Holloway fight 5 times in a row if they would
yeah,
book it.
yeah, same. Um, well, I know one I would like to see at Kevin Holland. And again, it's funny to say like, oh, we miss him because he spent so much of 2020 fighting, and then 2021 still got lots of fights in too. But he did tweet out today, "Who should I fight next?" And so I don't know. You'll never even watch this, Kevin. So whatever. But I would like, as a fan, to see. I think him and Wonderboy. Um, I like their styles. I think they're very not the same, but similar. And it would be a fun matchup. I think.
Yeah, I think that's a super fun fight to make. I don't think that Kevin Holland, with his recent run, deserves somebody who's. And I know, Bilal Muhammad did what he did to Wonder Boy in Wonder Boy's last fight, but Wonder Boy, even though getting older, blah blah blah, um, he's still up there in the division, and I'm not sure that Kevin Holland, off of one win, dropping down, quite deserves that. I do think that Kevin Holland, given the run he had in 2020, and I get 2021 wasn't as good, but I do think that he very well could get a top 15 guy, and so I'm looking more towards the bottom of the welterweight top 15 at like Jeff Neal would be a really fun matchup for Kevin Holland. Um, Ponzinibbio is another one that would be fun. Uh, somebody in that range is kind of what I would see for Kevin Holland in the next fight.
I would like to see him. I think he needs to fight someone with a wrestling background in the welterweight division. And the reason why I say this is because he needs to show that it wasn't
Yeah.
just he wasn't just a fluke of him getting overpowered by bigger guys. I need to see that you can wrestle, buddy. And I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. So what I kind of want to see is not him wrestle. I want to see him fight somebody that's just going to strike with him because I want to see him win, or
Right,
have a
I
chance
no,
to
I
win.
do.
Because I kind of
I
feel like if he fights a good wrestler, it's not going to go so well.
But that's what, like, we're in mixed martial arts, man. And if you're gonna be the big mouth and the hype, I need to see that you can
Oh,
wrestle with
sure. If
the
you're going
best.
to the top of the division, like if he were to fight, I mean, perfect example, Bilal Muhammad. We were just talking about him a minute ago. He's probably got a pretty good, like, significant height and reach advantage, and I still think Bilal just probably ragdolls him all over the cage and lays on him for most of the fight at this point.
Yeah,
If they were to make that matchup.
yeah, for sure. That's why I want to see him. Yeah, I want to see someone's gonna challenge him. I want to see him showcase his skills. I also want to see him showcase some takedown defense. You know what I'm saying? He's not that bad off the takedown defense either. But
How
I
about
don't
how
know.
about this for something wild? So this brings me to the next one that I want to talk about, but let's just go crazy here and say that Kamzat, everybody's favorite up and coming fighter, including mine. I love watching the guy fight. Might be my favorite fighter in the UFC to watch these days. Let's say that Gilbert Burns beats him. Maybe Kevin Holland and Kamzat.
I think that would
Like,
be a massacre.
how crazy would that be? Oh, it would absolutely be a massacre.
I
It would
think
be
Gilbert Burns and
probably
I think Gilbert
per
Burns is gonna
if
get
if
massacred.
if if Kamzat and Kevin Holland fought, first round submission.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
maybe he makes it 2 or 3 minutes, if that.
I want to see Kevin Holland succeed so bad in this division. I really do. But Chimaev is a scary dude.
So let's talk about him. So, do you think if he beats Gilbert Burns and beats him either convincingly or by some kind of finish, does he get the next title shot after Leon Edwards?
I think I'm just like looking here because I want to see who's in front of him because I don't know off the top of my head.
So Gilbert Burns is second, just Colby Covington in front of him.
Bro,
Um, Leon Edwards is third.
bro, dude,
Kamzat's got all the hype. Like, if
dude.
he knocks him out or
There's some
submits him
dudes
in a
though,
convincing way,
but bro,
there's some dudes, but
Colby
Usman's beaten
Chimaev,
all of them.
Colby versus Chimaev.
That would be a fun fight.
The Can you imagine the pressers?
That would be a fun fight.
The things that would be said, I think we'd see more than Will Smith slapping. I think we'd see. But bro, could you imagine?
Well, because I mean, so
That's the
we're
thing.
going under a lot of assumptions. So
Chimaev is going up against Burns though, which is right under Colby, which is again we're talking about
right.
Gilbert Burns number 2. That's a big jump from.
And everybody's saying,
He's
"Oh,
11 right
Kamzat's
now.
gonna run through him because he's run through everybody." But it's again one of these ones where it's the biggest test to date, sort of like Volkov was for Aspinall a couple of weeks ago, and he passed out with flying colors. But
He's jumping
I
a lot
mean,
of dudes here. He's jumping a
he's
lot of
got a
dudes.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're guys that are
And he's still a
steadily
minus
working their
600
way up, like
favorite.
Vincente Luque. Sean Brady's on the come up, grinding his way up in the rankings in that division. I mean, but when you win and win as convincingly as he does, you kind of earn that.
Dude, him versus Kobe though. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean that would be a fun fight, but I kind of think he's getting the title shot if he beats Burns, and that's going under the assumption
I
that
think he wins.
Usman beats Leon Edwards, which I think he will.
I
You
think,
think Kamzat beats Usman?
dude, I'm with you. Chimaev is one of the most exciting fighters to watch right now. I I don't get why I think the only reason he's down where he is was because of what happened in 2020. He had like a little, didn't he
Well,
have
and
like
he
a
also
break or
hasn't
something in
even. Yeah,
2020?
he
Like,
had COVID really bad.
and that
He
that
had like a
set him
really
back,
bad
right?
case of COVID. I think he had at least one, if not maybe even two fights that were canceled, and he was out for a while. Um, and he hasn't. I mean, the reason he's ranked as low as he is he hasn't beaten top ranked guys
Him and all right,
really
him and
yet.
Leon Edwards got canceled in
That
2020,
was canceled. Yep.
but he did fight in September and July, both, as you would say, cans, nothing great, but still great fighters. But then Leon Edwards,
That was in 2020 that he
2020, yep.
fought.
And then Leon Edwards got
Last year
canceled.
was
And
right.
then we went into
Li
another
Liang.
canceled, but then they got canceled again in 2021.
Right.
And then Lee J. Ling, which was, cannot believe what I even watched that day. He
Right.
just picked him
He
up and
picked him up
yelled,
and put him right in front of his own corner.
and then just yelled at Dana to give him more money, which was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean
And now we're where
that's
we're
what
at.
right. That's what gets you
But here's the thing:
ranked 11
those
by
two
this point and
fights,
whatever.
yeah, those two fights don't get canceled with Leon Edwards. We might not even Leon Edwards may not even be in this possible title match because he would have
Well,
got
so yeah, that could
record.
have been a title eliminator in itself. Comes out
And then
against Leon
we're
Edwards.
looking. Does that mean even Kobe Usman even ever happens? Because now we're thinking like, all right.
Well, it's already happened twice. We don't need to see
But
that again anytime soon.
If Chimaev would have beat Leon Edwards, would we even gotten Usman
Oh,
Covington?
the second one.
Or would it have
Maybe
been a
not.
straight Chimaev to Usman? Because we're
Right.
talking, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's weird to see. Again, what I've watched from Chimaev, as dominant as he is, and I look and say, "Oh my God, he's number 11." But then you go and look in that division, you're like, "Oh well, there's some dudes in that division."
Yeah, well, and it's just
But
because he hasn't beaten any of those top dudes yet. Like he'll. I mean, he's probably. I mean, Burns is the second ranked contender. If he beats Burns, he takes that spot probably. Um, and he's the number 3 guy behind Usman and Covington, and he's probably fighting for the title after that.
yeah, either way, like you said, super exciting.
I mean, the only way I think if he beats Gilbert Burns convincingly, like it's not some type of grinded out close decision. If he beats him convincingly by dominating decision, by any kind of finish, I think the only way he doesn't get a title shot is if somehow Leon Edwards manages to beat Usman, because you got to give Usman the respect of an immediate rematch. But otherwise, I think if Khamzat takes out Burns convincingly, he's the next dude.
I think Chimaev's gonna beat the crap out of Usman.
I know you said that.
Bro,
I don't know. I don't know.
dangerous.
I think the two guys to me that I think have a good shot against Chimaev are Colby and Usman. I mean, they're champion and the next best guy for a reason.
Chimaev is a dangerous man.
He is absolutely a savage.
He
We
may
also have
be
to
he
see
may be
how does
Khabib
he
level
look.
here.
Right, he might be, but also we haven't seen yet. Like, how does he look in the 4th round when he's been wrestling Kamaru Usman
I don't know.
for
He hasn't
3
been
rounds
hit in his
before
last
that?
3 fights.
Right,
I don't know.
that's the thing is he doesn't get hit. He just does damage and ends fights. So,
But what's to say that like, okay, well, yeah, we haven't seen him, but like maybe we won't ever. Maybe we
it's
won't
always a
ever see it
possibility. But I
because
mean, even guys like John Jones ended up in wars eventually in his career. Like, even the
oh, I
best of the
get that.
best have
But
their wars.
oh, I understand. You're not wrong on that. I don't think we'll ever see it. I think this dude's just gonna roll, dude. And again, I don't know. I'm just messing around. It might be wrong here, but wow, that man
Yeah.
is.
Oh, he is definitely impressive. I mean, there are a few guys that are like just my favorite guys to watch on tape, to watch their fights. He's in there right now.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like him and Adesanya for me these days. And Adesanya even has had some boring fights, but like good
Super boring.
Adesanya.
Super boring fights, but hey, I still love watching him every time he's in the ring. All right, man. Well, any other matchups you're trying to see?
I mean, I'm gonna watch anything that the UFC puts out. I'm just a fan like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Glover defend the title at 41 years old or however old he is.
Him against Jiri is
Uh,
gonna be so epic, dude.
that's gonna be a great fight.
I'm
And
excited
I
for that
mean,
one.
pretty much all like any title fight, of course. Like that's easy to say. Like, oh yeah, I'm excited to see Oliveira fight Gaethje because of course I
Hmm.
am. So any title fight is easy to say that way. One of the ones, and this can maybe be the last one that we end on, so we're not running too long here. But just was booked recently is Alex Pereira against Sean Strickland,
Yeah, wild.
and that's one I'm super looking forward to. It seems obvious that the UFC is trying to be able to book Pereira against Adesanya because Pereira beat him twice in kickboxing and knocked him out once, and he's the only guy to ever do that. Blah 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 blah. And they think they can sell a lot of pay-per-views and tickets when they make that matchup if they ever are able to, and they're probably right. I'm not the most hyped to see Pereira Adesanya fight necessarily. If he beats Sean Strickland, which is no small task, but Sean Strickland probably, I mean, I guess we're going to see. Sean Strickland's probably going to give him the stand up fight that he wants because Sean Strickland trusts his boxing that much that he might, and he's just such a crazy, insane, wild dude that he might try to go to war on the feet with one of the best kickboxers in the world, which is maybe not a good idea. Um, and so it feels to me like the UFC is giving Pereira a fight where they can say, okay, next one is Adesanya, and it's one that's winnable for Pereira. So like I um, tweeted just in response to somebody else today, like, all right, if Pereira beats Strickland, let's see him fight somebody with decent wrestling, like Marvin Vettori is a good example. Let's see him fight Marvin Vettori and deal with that wrestling attack that he can bring before we have him fight Adesanya. They're probably, if Pereira does beat Strickland, they're probably gonna make the Adesanya rematch and hype and I'll tune in and watch and I'll enjoy it, but it's just not to me the way I would go with all of this.
Yeah, I'm
It seems like they're rushing him for a storyline and that it's not fair to other guys who deserve title shots, but also Izzy's cleaned out the division fairly well, so there aren't a ton of guys that do deserve title shots. I mean,
yeah,
the fight between Pereira and Strickland is probably a title eliminator because Izzy's going to get Cannonier next, and then he probably gets the winner of Pereira and Strickland after that if assuming Izzy wins.
yeah. Um yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. Um but then again, even Sean Strickland and Adesanya is a fun matchup. Um
Exactly, and it kind of sucks that they're making Strickland go through Pereira to get a title shot.
yeah,
Like,
I think Strickland's earned it, but they
yeah,
Dana's up to something, man. He knows what he's doing.
or have Strickland fight like Paulo Costa or something like that, like somebody who's still
Man,
up there in the rankings.
I'm done watching Paulo Costa, man. It ain't even.
Too much wine.
I'm done watching that guy. He talks so much crap to Izzy or to Iggy, and he went and stood in the middle of the ring and got knocked out. I'm not a fan of Costa's last couple performances, but I am a fan of what Strickland's done. I think again,
Mm-hmm.
he's
I'm
done some
not a
great
fan
things.
of him as a human being. He
No,
seems like a certifiably crazy person, and like actually potentially dangerous ways,
Yeah.
like talking about, you know,
He
and
makes
just,
some egregious
you know,
statements.
we're not a political show, but yes, egregious statements is the way to say it.
Some egregious statements. But yeah, speaking of that, our show, man. What is our show? What talk to us, like share with the
So yeah, so we can wrap up on this, I think, for this week. So we're obviously the Knockout Bets podcast here. So we talk through each UFC card, give our breakdown, our picks for the fights, our bets for the fights, and uh, we've done, I think, pretty well so far. We're through 4 weeks. I think we had two pretty strong winning weeks each, one where we were both close to break even, and then the most recent one we both had a rough week, which is interesting because we went head to head on well, I guess it ended up only being 4 out of 5 because the Olenek and Latifi fight was canceled, but we were head to head on 4 out of 5 main card picks last week, and we still ended up both having bad weeks somehow. So uh, but that's all right. I mean, our mini track record so far shows that we're up and we're doing decently. We're mostly though just here to have fun. We're unprofessional gamblers. We're not here to tell you follow every single one of our picks. We're telling you this is what we're picking and why, and you can choose to follow if you want to. That's great. We love it if you do. You know, we more want you to follow us on Twitter than we want you to follow our betting picks. We're having fun with that part of it, and we are getting more right than we are getting wrong, and so there is potentially some value there, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the best MMA handicapper of all time. Um, and yeah,
Yeah, man. I tell you what, it's fun being able to watch something like the UFC. And so I remember playing college football, we watched a lot of film on other teams, right? Lots and lots and lots and lots of film. And it used to be kind of the relaxing part of my day is throwing on the tape and then breaking it down. So now, I don't need, or do I have access to the football? I mean, I could, but breaking it down, the football film like that, not as what I used to, but being able to like watch fight film and read the stats, read up on the fighters, it kind of brings back those good memories. And it's just like sometimes, you know, the being able to just sit and read about a fighter, look at their fights, see and try to predict how they're going to come out in such a volatile sport that literally anything can happen, is definitely a rush, and I love it. I love being able to talk
yeah,
about it
and
with
so like
yeah,
you said, I want to walk back a
yeah,
little bit what I said. Like
yeah,
we do our due diligence and our homework
yeah,
every week. Like we really are looking into our breakdowns, and um so you know I say flippantly we're having fun, don't follow our picks, but we are doing our homework,
yeah.
and we are coming with informed opinions.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I do. I mean, for everyone, I try my best. I try to make the best picks with the best information that we got. But I mean, we're talking about sports gambling, man.
It's
There's
fun.
no, yeah. Like for the people that say they have systems, great, go pay for their systems. I'm not in there. Plus, I'm also not risking enough to want to be that type of person. I do it as it's a good, fun little hobby for myself. Which brings us to like what we're doing here. Which right now we are, and again, looking back at this, it's March 29th, 2022. And whenever we look down the road and we come back to this episode and we're talking about it, um, we don't know where we're going with this thing. I always say right now we're in the yes phase, right? We're just trying to get as many yeses as we can, meet as many people as we can. If you're interested and you want to share what you're doing, you want to get on our podcast, let us know. All we want to do is socialize. We want to spread kindness and positivity through sports stories, and sports media, as much as we can. and it's fun being able to
1,000%.
right, and it's fun being able to do this. And then we talk about like when we say like keep the change, right? Like yeah, there's that metaphorical like keep the change, like there's a bet, like don't worry, you don't have to give us a tip, keep the change. But what we really like to move towards is working with some like nonprofits and some charities and being able to like do t-shirt campaigns and raise golf outings, throw events, host of silent auctions, where again the money that we raise, go ahead, keep the change, and give it back to the communities that we are in. So again, lots of
Right.
stuff on the
And it's
horizon.
also, so keep the change also to me has the meaning in that same vein of keep the positive change in your life.
Yep. Yeah. And again, it's like I don't know where we're at. I do know there's some cool things that we have planned. I know this is a long game for us, and this is it. I mean, I'm in. We're in. I got nothing. There's no other. We can't go back now. There's no. We burn. We
I
burn the
mean,
boats.
we can disappear off
Yeah.
the internet tomorrow, but we're
Yeah.
not going to.
No. Burn the boats, baby. We're here. Again, I don't know where this next step is. I am excited though, because I feel like again, every day has been something different, and it's been fun. And um, again, we've talked to a pro golfer. We've done some photo and video reviews for a couple restaurants and businesses, which is super fun. So again, we're in the yes phase right now. If you have an idea or something you want to bounce off to us, let us know. That's what we're here. We want to do something. Again, keep the change. We're all about spreading positive stories in sports throughout the social media community. Um, well, thanks for tuning in. Um, we do have I do have an interview with Corey Schindler, uh, gym owner over in Tampa, Florida, Impact Fitness. He's going to come, one of my best friends. He's going to talk about some sports nutrition. He's going to talk about some Miami Dolphins updates because he's a huge Dolphins fan, and he's got some cool programs and camps going on at Impact Fitness. So stay tuned for that. I got the interview with him Thursday. The interview will probably drop around Friday. But yeah, thanks again. Stay tuned for more things. If you have anything you'd like to hit us up on, let us know. Drop those comments, those likes, smash that subscribe button. Um, and until next week when we talk about UFC 273,
Keep the
Volkanovski
change.
versus the Korean Zombie. Yeah, we'll see you until next time. Keep the change.